Hello, agus fáilte go lesson inug. Hello, welcome to lesson 9. J and the high. What time is it? As always, the link to this lesson PDF is in the comments below the video, and you'll also get a link to the folder containing all the course files there too. As you go through, you can pause the video and repeat the phrases after me, and go back and hear them again as many times as you need. So in this lesson, J and the high, what time is it? We're going to look at Arivin. Arivin, numbers. Arivin, numbers, one number, Ariv. So this is another question that we can ask using J, which we've already seen. J anuid aha what time is it? Obviously, to answer that, we're going to need to learn some numbers and some vocabulary to allow us to count and tell the time. J anuid aha. Well, here are the numbers in Gaelic. Numbers in English here first. The numbers themselves, as they stand alone, they appear like this when they come before a noun. So if you're counting through things like 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, you would use these. But if you're counting through a list like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you need to use this set here and put the a in front. So it's like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4 when you count in Gaelic. And this system applies to all the numbers up until 20. So, firstly, un, da, tri, cead, coig, shia, seach, och, neu, deich. So that's the numbers 1 to 10. Un, da, tri, cead, coig, shia, seach, och, neu, deich. To count beyond 10, we add diug. And this diug is like 10 in English. In English, we have 2 irregular numbers here. 11 and 12, it's not 1 teen, 2 teen, 3 teen, 14. So we have 11 and 12. In Gaelic, we just use the same numbers we saw here, but we add diug, 10. So un diug, da diug, and da always lenites. It's a strong leniter, so it causes the H to come in. Da diug, tri diug, ceir diug, coig diug, shia diug, seach diug, och diug, neu diug, and then fichid for 20. So the 10 numbers in Gaelic are actually far more regular than they are in English. We just take exactly the number we had, 1 to 10 or 1 to 9, and add 10. As I said, to count through the numbers, you add this to it. So a hun, a ga, a tri, a cead, a coig, a shia, a seach, a hoch, a neu, a deich. The only difference this really makes is it adds the H before a vowel. So we get a hun, and likewise a hun diug. And da itself is lenited. So a hun, a ga, a tri, a cead, a coig, a shia, a seach, a hoch, a neu, a deich, a hun diug, a ga diug, a tri diug, a ceir diug, a coig diug, a shia diug, a seach diug, a hoch diug, a neu diug, fichid. So that's the numbers. You'll need to practice them through until you're comfortable with them. But yeah, nothing for that but going through them again and again until you're comfortable counting from 1 to 20. A hun, a ga, a tri, a cead, a coig, a shia, a seach, a hoch, a neu, a deich, a hun diag, a ga diag, a tri diag, a cer diag, a coig diag, a si diag, a seach diag, a hoch diag, a neu diag, fichid. So as you can see, when counting through the numbers, we add a hun, a ga, a tri. We use the a in front, which causes h before a vowel. So that applies to a hun, agus, a hoch. Diag is the equivalent of 10 in English and is added to the numbers 1 to 9 as we see above. Both un and da lenite the following words. But as you can see here, da causes lenition very strongly, whereas un doesn't. It's not quite as strong. So D and T are called dentals and they tend to block lenition. And this happens in a number of situations where D and T don't lenite unless the thing that's causing them to lenite is strongly doing so. So where we have un, diag, no lenition, da, diag, takes lenition. So un lenites words except those that start with D and T. So to use these numbers, we need to look at counting things in Gaelic, which has a couple of differences to counting things in English. So we've got two examples here. One in this list we're counting cats, and this list we're counting hours, which is the one that's going to be relevant to the question J in uair. So the first thing to note is that both 1 and 2 in Gaelic, un and da, are single. So it's 1 cat, 2 cat, 1 hour, 2 hour. And then from 3 onwards, we just use the plural as you would in English, 3 hours, 4 cats, 5 cats, etc. Like 1 and 2, 11 and 12 also take singular. So un chat, diag, da chat, diag. 1 cat, 10, 2 cat, 10. So they are singular and lenited where appropriate. And da here is so strongly leniting, it's causing cat to lenite and diag to lenite, where a vowel can't lenite, but the lenition is still being passed over to diag. So da lenites everything. And then the last thing to note here is that fichid also takes a singular, and that's the same as 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, the kind of milestone numbers, as it were, take the singular. So fichid uair, 20 hour. So un chat, da chat, tri cait, ceir cait, coig cait, sia cait, seach cait, och cait, neu cait, dich cait. Un chat, diag, da chat, diag. And then from 13 to 19, we just repeat here, but adding diag. Tri cait, diag. And the lenition here is actually caused by the I in cait. So any noun that forms its plural by slenderization, so cat, cait, it's not uair, uairin. Here we add something to it to get the plural. With cat, we add the I, and this I that we've added causes lenition in diag. So through all the rest of these, from 13 to 19, we would have tri cait, diag, ceir cait, diag, coig cait, diag, etc. through to fichid cat, 20 cat. With uair, hour, un uair, da uair, tri uairin, ceir uairin, coig uairin, all the way through to dich uairin, and then 11 and 12, un uair diag. 1 hour 10, un uair diag. Da uair dhiog, 2 hour 10. Trí uaireann dhiog, 4 uaireann dhiog, 5 uaireann dhiog, 6 uaireann dhiog, etc. through to ficad uair, singular again. Ficad uair. So Jane uair high. Something else to note, if it's 1 o'clock here in the morning, ha uair savatin. So we don't say ha un uair, we say ha uair. It is hour, it is 1. Ha uair savatin. An savatin. So in the morning. If it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we would say ha uair fescar. So for some reason it's an savatin in the morning, but just uair fescar. So we don't say in the afternoon. Ha uair savatin, ha uair fescar. Ha da uair, singular again, ha da uair savatin, ha da uair fescar. And then afterwards just ha coig uaireann. Ha coig uaireann savatin, ha coig uaireann fescar. So in these clocks here, Jane uair high. And you can see if you can give an answer before I reveal. Jane uair high. Ha uair. It is hour, it is 1. Ha uair. Jane uair high and show. Ha da uair. Jane uair high and show. Ha seach uaireann. Jane uair high and show. Ha och uaireann. So we'll need some additional vocabulary to talk about the time. Obviously, when you ask somebody what time it is, it's not going to be on the hour all the time. It'll be 2:15, 2:15, 2:30, 20 past, that type of thing. Not all of this vocabulary is new, so don't panic. We've met some of these words before. We've seen fescar, which is masculine, so am fescar. Matin, we've also seen. Evatin, the morning. An savatin, in the morning. We've seen eiche. We know that's feminine because eiche va. So an eiche, the night, eiche. We saw uair, which means hour. We might also want to use man, man. And the reason why that might come in is because midnight and midday would be man eiche, and man la. We know the word la for day. Man la, midday, man eiche, midnight. Carstel, very similar to quarter, carstel, carstel. Le, half, le. So le uair, half an hour, le uair. Minach, evinach, so feminine, minach, vinach. Chije and chije. If you remember, there's 2 words for the weather, and amishid, but there's also enchide, which is S-I-D-E. And the reason I would tend to teach anamishid for the weather is because enchide, the T comes in when it's the weather, and it sounds very much like enchide for time. Chide is time. So is aum and haum. So it's masculine, and haum. Ha and haum, aum. It's time. So chide tends to more refer to hours time as it's kept by clocks. So we talk about da uair ahige, 2 hours of time. So it's more perhaps clock-based time, whereas alm is more the times, just now the time. So there's a slight difference when these are used. Jig, and then jig in a second. Jig, jig, second. Uairidir is a thing that keeps uair. Uairidir, a watch. Uairidid, and uairidid, the watch, and uairidid. Bliana, which we probably won't use for this exercise, talking about time, but bliana, vliana, year. Fad is how we say length or duration, so fad uair ahige would be for the length of an hour of time. Fad uair ahige. Fad da uair ahige, for the length of 2 hours of time. So all the purple boxes here are nouns. We then have some adverbs of time in these pink boxes. Again, we've seen arayed last night, arayed. We've seen anjay yesterday. Anjay. We've seen anju today. Anju. We've also seen, I think, amarach tomorrow. Amarach. So that's last night, yesterday, today, tomorrow. Arayed, anjay, anju, amarach. Some useful ones for telling the time are ahige, and I've already given examples of uair ahige, an hour of time. Fad 3 uairin ahige, for the duration of 3 hours of time. So that's used to make it explicit that we're not talking about 3 o'clock, we're talking about 3 hours of time. Id yedig is behind or slow in relation to a clock, not as how fast you're walking or anything. Id yedig. And jerig is the end of something. Id yedig, behind, slow. Id hoshach. Id hoshach, ahead, fast. Again, fast as a clock would be rather than as somebody would be running or walking. Id hoshach, id yedig. Gu le is like an adverb that means and a half. So le uair, if we want to say it's half 1 uair gule, hour and a half. We saw. We then have 3 prepositions. So gu is very useful to say it's to until. So to would be karstel gu uair. Karstel gu uair savati. 1/4 hour in the morning. So to sj, which you also see an and j, sj, after. So ha e karstel sj uair. It's 1/4 past, 1/4 after hour, 1 o'clock. And son, for. Son uair ahige, for an hour of time. So that's some of the vocabulary. We'll now look at some sentences. And in these sentences, we're translating from Gaelic into English. So, bí an bus a fallóh ag carstal go trí fescar. Bí an bus a fallóh ag carstal go trí fescar. If you want to have a go at translating that, you can pause the video. But bí an bus a fallóh, the bus will be leaving at ag carstal 1/4 go trí fescar, 2-3 in the afternoon. Bhí sin ar an rad fad 5 uair in ahige. Bhí sin ar an rad fad 5 uair in ahige. So sin, bí sin, we will be in rad on the road. Fad coig uair na híde, for the duration of 5 hours of time. So road for 5 hours of time. For 5 hours, you wouldn't say of time in English, but we will be on the road for 5 hours. Bísin in rad fad coig uair na híde. Bíon class ann ag coig muid an go céad. Bíon class ann ag coig muid an go céad. So being class ann, the class will be ann here is like in existence there in a kind of existential sense. So it doesn't really translate it into English. The class will be ag 5 coig muid an go céad, 5 minutes to 4. Catch and be ag seach uair. So catch and be, we had catch in the last lesson. Catch and be ag seach uair. Where will you be, catch and be u, at 7 o'clock? Ag léir is dé ag a. Ag léir is dé ag a. So at lé uair half an hour, but in English ag léir is dé ag a at 2:30. At half an hour past 2. Ag léir is dé ag a. Ha nuair agam coig muid an diaag é dhéannig. So ha nuair agam, ha rudigan agam, I have something, my watch. Ha nuair agam, my watch. And then we have ha, so is, nuair agam, ha nuair agam coig muid an diaag. So coig muid an diaag, 15 minutes. And é dhéannig, slow. My watch is 15 minutes slow. Va an gloch ag ra, carstal is dé uair. So we have va, was, past tense. Va an gloch ag ra, the clock was ag ra saying. Carstal is dé uair, quarter past 1. So is dé uair, after hour after 1. The clock was saying quarter past 1. You could also translate as the clock said quarter past 1, past tense. So va mo ven, le uair the híde iad thoiseach. Va mo ven, le the híde iad thoiseach. Past tense again. Mo ven is my wife. My wife was. Le uair the híde, half an hour. So here, le this j ig is half past 2. Le the híde, half an hour. Iad thoiseach, early or fast. So my wife was half an hour early. Shani. Bí mi ann an an uair go lé. So bí mi ann an an uair go lé. This may look a bit strange because we have ann, 3 in a row, but these are doing 2 different jobs. Annan is in, whereas bí mi ann, this is the kind of existential ann. Bí mi ann, I will be there. Annan uair go lé. in an hour and a half. Bí mí ann an an nuad go léi. I will be there in an hour and a half. Bha sin ag a chéilí gus carstal go únúir díog. Bha sin ag a chéilí gus carstal go únúir díog. So bha sin, we were, ag a chéilí, at the céilí, which is a Scottish dance. We don't need to really translate that. If you're in Scotland, certainly people will know what you're talking about if you say, I was at the céilí. Gus carstal go únúir díog. So until is the first gus, carstal, quarter, to, we have gu, únúir díog, 11 o'clock. So we were at the céilí until 11:15. So, Nish ha bear like an issue. You have English, and we need to translate these into Gaelic. So again, you can have a go at this yourself, first of all, and then I'll fill in the answers for you here. So we were reading for half an hour. We were reading Va Shin Leavig for half an hour. Fad Le Wood Hije. Va Shin Leavig Fad Le Wood Hije. I was walking for an hour and a half. I was walking, past tense again. Va me. Koshach for an hour and a half. So fad for an hour and a half. With gu le. Fami koshach fad with gu le. They were playing for 2 hours. Va again. Va iad this time. They were. Clich. Fad da with the hije. That the clich fad da the hije. We were listening for half an hour. Past tense. Va shin. We were éisteach. Va shin éisteach fad with fad le with hije for half an hour. Fad le the hije. Va shin éisteach fad le the hije. At 6:15, so ik carstal is J Shia. Ik carstal is J Shia. Ik carstal is J Shia. My watch was half an hour fast. So va and with did acum, van did acum, half an hour. Le with hije is hoshach. Van did acum, le the hije is hoshach. Where were you at 8 o'clock? So where we had last time catch. So catch and row. Where were? Catch and row. U. Ik. Och. Uren. Where were you at 8 o'clock? My husband was 5 minutes late. So past tense va and dinje acum. That's the guy for my husband. Van dinje acum. coig minagin idd yedek. My husband was 5 minutes late. Typical. He will be there in 10 minutes. So future tense this time. He will be and there. He will be present. He will be there. Be awn an jich minagin. Be awn and then jich minagin. We were at the ceilidh until midnight. We were at the ceilidh va sin ag ceilidh until midnight. So gu or gus mean neiche. So we had mean neiche, midnight. We should probably have a taha now. Vashin ege ceilidh gus mean neiche. So hopefully you managed those. We haven't covered the construction and dinyagam, perhaps, so that might have been tricky. And dinyagam, my husband, but where we had my wife, Moven, my wife. That will be the subject of another lesson. So there's some clocks here, which you can, if you wanted to print these lessons out, you can fill in below in Gaelic what time it is in each of these clocks, but I'll skip past that for now. You can do that in your own time as an additional exercise. So in pairs, if you're in a class or working with a partner, you can work through these pictures, asking Jane the hi and giving an answer. Hi, with, da with, tri with. If you're just by yourself, then you can pause the video, ask yourself, Jane the hi, and then give your answer, ha, and whatever time it is. But I'll go through them just now and give answers. And we're not looking for exact time like you would in English. You can round these up to the nearest quarter or 10 or 20 minutes. So Jane the hi. This first picture, Jane the hi. Well, ha ficid minich guga. Ha ficid minich guga. Or ha ficid minich guda with. Ha ficid minich, singular, guda with. Good 2 o'clock. Jane the hi and show. Jane the hi. Ha ficid minich. Es J with. Ha ficid minich. Es J da with. Jane the hi and show. Ha coig minigin gu meneiche. Looks like this is at night time, so we can assume that this is midnight that's pointing to. Jane the hi and show. Ha coig minigin gu meneiche. Jane the hi and show. Ha jich minigin gu tri uwydden. So most of these we won't know if it's morning or night. Jane the hi and show. Ha jich minigin gu tri uwydden. Jane the hi and show. Ha coig minigin gu cehed uwydden. Ha coig minigin gu cehed uwydden. Jane the hi and show. Ha tri uwydden. Ha tri uwydden. 3 o'clock. Jane the hi and show. Ha carstel gu da uwyd. This looks like it's daytime, so ha carstel gu da uwyd fescyd. Ha carstel gu da uwyd fescyd. Here, this probably in a subway, but does look like it's nighttime. Jane with a high. High coig minigin go coig. And if it's at night, high coig minigin coig fesket. Jane with a high. High coig minigin go coig fesket. Jane with a high and show. Jane with a high. High carstal is J. Jich Uuden. High carstal is J. Jich Uuden. Jane with a high and show. High da vintage yug gemeen la. High da vintage yug gemeen la. It's 12 minutes to midday. Jane with a high and show. High shach minigin diug go uid. Ha shach minigin diug go uid fesket. 17 minutes to 1 in the afternoon. Ha shach minigin diug go uid fesket. Jane with a high and show. Jane with a high. High Jich minigin go 3. And again, fesker. Looks like it's daylight. Jane with a high. Jich minigin go 3 fesker. Jane with a high and show. High coig minigin is J unorsdiug. High coig minigin is J unorsdiug. Jane with a high and show. High coig minigin is J uid. High coig minigin is J uid. Jane with a high and show. High och minigin is J shia uiden. High och minigin is J shia uiden. Jane with a high. High och minigin is J shia uiden. Jane with a high and show. Jane with a high and show. High da vintage agus duke is J och uiden savati. So high da vintage 2 minute. High da vintage agus duke in a second, if you want to be that accurate. High da vintage agus duke is J och uiden savati. Assuming this is in the morning. Och uiden savati, 8 in the morning. So that's it for this lesson. Telling the time can be rather difficult, and there's a good bit of new concepts introduced here. A lot of this vocabulary we've seen in previous lessons. But with telling the time, it's useful just to go through, learn the numbers, make sure you're comfortable with them, and then learn the counting system, and you can practice with the translation sentences and the exercises in this lesson. Agus, chi mishev ina hudis. I'll see you next time.